Hey, you guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings because I'm just over the nonsense that's going on right now. Um, Especially with the whole this needs to be like the Asian Black Panther thing. Of course, you guys know I didn't have a channel back in the day, but if I did, we'd be having the same talk with Black Panther as well. But I don't like the fact that we're sitting up here trying to rewrite history or try to pretend like all of these other Asian characters or Asian actors never came before Simu Lui. And that's really annoying, and it's really a turnoff for watching the movie because first off, Shang-Chi's not the most interesting Asian character. There are way more Asian interesting characters, but oops, I forgot a lot of them are tied to franchises that Marvel didn't have the rights to at the time. So of course they have to go with Shang-Chi because that's the one that they had at the time, because all the other Asian characters were tied up in Universal or Sony or Fox at the time. And most of the cool iconic Asian characters are mostly tied up within the X-Men, so it kind of makes it kind of hard as well. But the reason why I'm saying that is because you have this actor out here talking about he's the great representation for Asians, and finally Asians can see themselves or whatever, and it's just kind of annoying to really hear that kind of nonsense because it's kind of disrespectful to everything that came before him. You know what I mean? You have all of these other Asian actors and Asian heroes even before he was even thought about, here doing everything. You have two iconic Asian actors in the Shang-Chi movie, and you're sitting up here disrespecting their legacy, spitting on their work because you want to try to virtue signal. And then people are so stupid that they're just sniffing it up. They're like, oh yes, we haven't had Asian representation in a long time or whatever, and then you talking about you don't want to play an Asian stereotype. What are you playing now then? Because Shang-Chi was literally a Bruce Lee knockoff. So you are playing a stereotype. So don't try to come out of nowhere and be like, oh, I'm not trying to do a stereotype, but you are doing a stereotype because you're playing the master of Kung Fu, Shang-Chi, who is the son of Chu Man Fu, which, Asians don't even like that character. And you can't go back and try to retcon it or whatever just because you named him the Mandarin. He's not the Mandarin. He's still Fu Manchu. Even I heard even over in the Asia countries, they were like, that's Fu Manchu, that's not the Mandarin, because unlike most people, they're not stupid. They know what this character history is. They know who this character is the son of. Just like it's kind of weird when you try to trick everybody with Ben Paisley as the quote unquote Mandarin for Iron Man 3. It just doesn't make any sense that you're trying to pretend like history didn't happen. People remember history quite fondly, Marvel, and you got to stop trying to ignore it. Just like you got to try to ignore all of the Asian characters that came before you, which is kind of weird and strange because now you have, matter of fact, I think what they could have did, what Marvel could have did, they could have did the Agent of Atlas movie instead, which they could have introduced a lot of these brand new Asian characters. You had on the team. I mean, and then you already had Jimmy Woo in there. So bam, you could have easily did that, which you could have brought in Shang-Chi, which could have led to a solo movie once we got to know him within this team movie, because you're doing the same thing with Eternals, but this time you're doing it with the whole team of Asian characters or whatever. Like you have the agent of Atlas, who are the allies of Department Zero, and the team leader is Jimmy Woo. You just got to recast the guy who you got to play Jimmy Woo in Ant-Man and get more of a military, a militant Asian character. And you could have had so many characters. You could have brought in 3D Man, Gorilla Man, Human Robot, Namora, Urana, Venus, Arrow, Brawn, Crescent, Giant Man, Ina, Luna, Snow, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, Protector, Silk, Wave, White Fox, Swordmaster. You see how you have all those characters right there? You could have did that then, if that's the case. If you really wanted to try to do something, you could have brought those characters in. And not even then, not even that, you kind of sit up here and ignore so many other Asian characters that came out beforehand. You know what I mean? And of course, a lot of them are mostly X-Men characters, but still, those characters, a lot of those Asian characters are more interesting than Shang-Chi, sad to say. But what I'm saying is, if you introduced a team that, finally formed after the Avengers, like, hey, if the Avengers aren't going to be around or whatever, here's a team that can actually do something. That team could have been created after the 5 year gap, so you kind of can sort of explain everything. But anyway, I'm just saying, I just kind of annoyed that we're sitting up here ignoring all of these things. So, and then especially when you have all of these old Asian characters, Asian actors never got a chance to see themselves, or we're finally being seen or whatever. So we're gonna ignore Steve Young, we're gonna ignore Daniel Day Kim, we're gonna ignore John Cho, we're gonna ignore Lucy Liu, we're gonna ignore Constant Wu, we're gonna ignore Sandra Oh, we're going to ignore Bruce Lee, we're going to ignore Jackie Chan, we're going to ignore Donnie Yen, we're going to ignore Michelle Yeoh, we're going to ignore Ken Hong Lee, Brenda Songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're Jackie Chan, Jet Li, what's that girl name? Oh yeah, Jamie Chung. She even did it. We're gonna ignore Margaret Cho. We're gonna ignore Kang Hong Soong, Kim Wabinate. We're going to ignore Maggie Q, Me Non Wang. Like, what are we talking about? All of these are some successful Asian actors who have done more than just martial arts or action movies or something like that, but they've all done movies and they all done successful runs in movies and shows. So I don't want to hear about, oh, this is the first time we've seen Asian representation or whatever, because you're not the first and you're not the last, and you're certainly not the most interesting version at all. So this whole story about we need representation or whatever is annoying. It's annoying, and Simu Lui just keeps putting his foot in his mouth. Where as a person who wants to give the movie a chance, I don't want to give the movie a chance because the actor just keep shoving his foot down his throat about Asian representation. Asians never been there. We never had any Asian representation movie that's been on the big screen. What are you talking about? There are too many movies from Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Bruce Lee, Mi Non Wei, Michelle Yeoh. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here with that nonsense. No, seriously, just get out of here with that nonsense of there hasn't been. Yes, there has. I don't know where everybody else been sleeping under. Y'all been sleeping on the rock. It's the same thing when I hear any black people talking about finally we have representation. No, we always had representation. You just ain't went and watched it. Don't sit up here and say it wasn't there, because it was there. Just like the same thing when I hear anybody else outside of white people talking about we never had representation. No, we were there. We were there. There are movies, there are shows. Don't pretend like those shows haven't existed, because now you're disrespecting the past to promote this nonsense of it's never been. No, it has been there. We're not in the 1940s, we're not in the 1960s where it really wasn't there like that. We are in the 2020s. So enough of this rhetoric, enough of the lies, enough of these storytellings of it's never been there, representation's never been there. You're trying to make some Black Panther money for this movie, and I get that. But I haven't really heard any Asian people really being excited about this movie. At least with Black Panther, you had sort of a built-in fan base because of Black Panther was introduced in Fantastic Four, and he's been around for almost 60 years. So it's not impossible, out the realm of possibility, that you would have had this character. And of course, they did kind of use the whole, oh, this is the first black superhero movie. Well, technically, it's the first black superhero that was published in the world of comics, yes, but it's not the first black superhero movie, if that makes sense. And to sit up there and trying to create that kind of thing was one of those things. But one thing that Chadwick and the cast didn't do, they didn't harp on the fact that they were the first at something, because they know if they did, it would have turned people off or whatever. That was the media that was spreading that. That was everybody else outside of Marvel doing that. And Marvel, kind of took it because they were like, hey, if they're going to do it for us, who are we not to say anything? And ever since they saw the money from Black Panther, they think they can do that with every diversity pool. Oh, look, it's the first ever movie led by a woman. No, it's not. No, it's not. Wonder Woman, Alien, Laura Croft. Get out of here with that nonsense. Oh, it's the first movie led by a Latino person. No, no, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have too many movies where these characters done showed up, and you're sitting up here trying to say that they haven't shown up until Marvel done it. Why is it when Marvel does it, it's the first, but when everybody else do it before Marvel, it's ignored? Come on now, that don't even make no logical sense. But let's stop the lies, please and thank you, because it's not the business, and all it does is turn more people off. And to be honest, I really have no interest in watching the movie because you didn't make me care about the character. The character's not dressed in a superhero costume. Um, the actor just keep talking stupid. Marvel's pushing more diversity and agenda over storytelling. You took an Iron Man villain and merged him with Fu Manchu, and you didn't let Iron Man ever fight his villains. Then you turned the rings into these sonic discs instead of actual, alien technology rings that are on the Mandarin hand. So, okay, sure, whatever. But it is what it is. But let's just stop the lies, everybody. Let's just stop the lies. But those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think. Comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.